Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
On your mark, get set, go.
Welcome to this week's Georgia Peachcast, November 11th, coming to you from Cherokee County, Georgia. This is Pat.
And this is Gregg.
And I'm going to take the lead because it's just something I have to do. Last week was an up and down one with Tuesday's election, big win for the progressives across the country, up and down the ballot. Then on Saturday, after 40 days of the government shutdown, 8 Democrats, senators crossed over and signed into the opening of the government. To the very unhappy 70% of the country that didn't want them to, including me.
And me. Was that 70% of the country or 70% of Democrats?
70% of the country did not want them to cave. Let there be no mistake. We understood the pain that people were going to go through, working without pay, not working, not being able to get their SNAP. The country was gearing up to help our countrymen in support of holding out for the 40 plus million would be able to get reasonable health care insurance and get help what they needed just to survive every day. Bottom line, I personally can tell you the authority of the majority of the 70% that I know feel betrayed and are now trying to figure out what to do going forward. They folded, but we won't.
Yeah, I think that's the big message, is that, it's very disappointing when we see our representatives seeming to do what we really need them to do, which is to stand up to this authoritarian regime of Donald Trump and the Republicans in control of Congress, and quite frankly the Supreme Court too. Yeah. And we felt, in particular, the people I talk to, my friends and colleagues and myself, who lean away from that Republican majority, that we finally had some people that were willing to stick to their guns. And I woke up Sunday morning going, what the hell? Yep. And so... But I think we got to be very careful about not getting dejected. We're seeing life in the party and people that are really wanting to show some gumption and to fight for what we as a body politic really need. Not just want, but what we need to, enjoy our lives as Americans as equally as possible. Not just up and down in our communities, but up and down the economic spectrum.
Yeah, we've got to get the leadership in the Democratic Party has got to start to pull it together. There's already a movement to get rid of some of, at least in some way, somehow, get rid of the leadership, especially in the congressional part of it. I'm not so sure that the party itself, that the leadership is strong enough to buck the congressionals like Schumer, who had caved back in March. Big question is, did he orchestrate this, without him signing himself on? Did he actually orchestrate it? Out of the 8 that caved and signed, 2 of them are retiring, so they don't care. And the other 6 are not going to be running in 26, so they're hoping that they get 3 years and people are going to forget. And guess what? We're not going to forget. Not this time.
No, I'm feeling elephant-like in my memory of this moment.
It's a shame that we have to be talking about the same things that we've been talking about over and over again, and here we go all over again. We thought we were after Tuesday, at least we had some kind of momentum, realizing that taking care of the American people was paramount to not only Democrats, but there were independents, there were Republicans who were starting to feel that they needed to take care of their people and make sure that their health care was taken care of, that they had that opportunity. And that was happening. It happened between Tuesday and Saturday, and then bam, here we go again.
Yeah, and I think what really made this happen was there's a lot of Republicans in the Congress that don't have the backbone to stand up to Trump, but they know that their constituencies are pissed. And so, this deal only helps them. It helps those weak individuals who don't have the gumption to stand up to a president, I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican, and do the right thing for the American people. Not just for the people that voted for them, but for all of the American people. And that's the thing that really gets me.
And you're right.
They're going to chalk this up as a Republican win.
It just gives them more reason to feel comfortable and, being able to stand where they are without making any adjustment to it.
Exactly. And to continue these, more or less hateful policies that they have moving forward. Nothing was done on the ACA subsidies. Yeah. Nothing. The people who rely on ACA subsidies, many of whom are Republican voters, are going to get screwed. Yeah. Nothing was done. And this promise of working with Democrats to create legislation to extend the subsidies, well, if they can extend the subsidies, I'm okay with that. But guess what? That's not a permanent fix. We need a permanent fix for health care for these disadvantaged people. And, that wasn't even talked about as far as I can tell, other than that promise, which, let's face it, when it comes to Republicans and promises, when it comes to the ACA, faithless. Yeah. Absolutely faithless.
Yeah. They just, in fact, I heard, they talk about it not being the ACA and Obamacare, as they continue, or Trump continues to call it, as to being not really the right way to take care of the health care in this country. But I haven't heard of any of them, including the other night on CNN. I haven't heard anybody come up with the replacement for it. What's their program? They don't have one.
No,
they don't.
Not at all.
All they have is get rid of the ACA. But then what? Then
they would just go back to what the ACA replaced, which was horrible health care for the majority of Americans.
An emergency room for the people who can't afford health care at all.
Yeah, which only makes the rest of our premiums go up because we're covering their costs. So, we have a program that is not perfect, but it is working well.
It was.
To cover 40 million Americans, which is absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And until they have a plan that they can stand up and explain to the American people, I don't trust them a whit.
I agree. All it is say no. Because they're just
Obama's signatures on it.
Yes, right. That's easy for them to just say no and stand back and watch it go there.
And if you've got friends or relatives that are still, they talk about Obamacare in negative ways, but they're relying on ACA, educate them that those are the same program. Okay, there's no difference except the name. So, and by the way, Obama, he embraced that name. They were using it, as a negative way to refer to the Affordable Care Act. And he was like, hey, you want to call it Obamacare? I'm all over that. I'll take that. After all, I'm the one that helped bring it to fruition. Yeah. So, I'm happy to own that. Right. He just took the power away.
Yeah. Again,
and so I love that.
We haven't been able to do that. Yep. So again, that's back to the Democratic Party. We just can't figure out how to come up with the messaging that is contrary to Trumpism, as I've been calling it, okay, or MAGA, okay. They've controlled the narrative, and we have not figured out how to come up with a narrative and who to get that narrative voice out there so that people who don't really follow what's going on start to hear that and understand that.
Yep.
We on the ground, and me personally, I'll talk about that, we need to have that messaging and that narrative controlling so that when we go knocking on doors or Invisible gets out on the street, that we get the message out to the people who don't watch all of the TV and don't watch other than Fox and don't read the paper, but somehow or another we've got to get that message that they start to believe it and then start to support it. But we need somebody at the very top to get that across. I mean,
yep, that is essential. The consistency in messaging.
Yeah,
because that's one of the things that, to give them credit, the Republican Party and especially Fox News has been able to do. They've got consistent messaging that comes down. They say, okay, here's the message, drum it, just pound it for weeks. Pound it for weeks, and we have to be able to do the same thing.
And we have to, and we need that. Yeah. And I'm going to keep yelling, screaming about we need that, and somebody better be hopefully listening. In the meantime,
well, and I think right now. I think we had a lot of consistency in messaging the last 40 days because
yes,
the Republicans were taking more and more heat for the shutdown. The Democrats' message was consistent. We are fighting to feed people. We are fighting to give them health care. And that message needs to continue. We can't just stop because we lost a round in the fight.
No.
No.
So,
don't lose faith. That's the big thing. Don't lose faith.
That is our message. I think that's Gregg and my message for this podcast is, again, don't lose faith. Don't give up. Don't stop fighting. Maybe take a small break, take a breath, but then come back out with both fists flowing. And again, fighting, it is a fight. And I'm not going to back away from that word. It's an absolute fight for the people below me because of my age and how long I've been around, and my children and grandchildren. It is a fight.
Yep, it's a fight for the future of our country, and it is a fight worth having.
It is.
For too long we've depended on the faith that the Republican Party would work in good faith with other people, Democrats, Independents, but they have proven time and time again over the last 20 to 40 years they don't.
No.
Okay, they are willing to let people go hungry. They are willing to let people die in emergency rooms because they don't have health care. Yeah. And so, that's what the ACA fixed. It fixed a huge chunk of the population from having to go through those pains. Yeah. And so, this is a fight for what's right. Yeah. What's always been right in America, which is help the disadvantaged, give them the dignity they deserve, and be there to be a good neighbor.
Yeah. As I said earlier, it was bad enough when they started to take away USA. It was USA. The health the plan that was the international plan for feeding people.
Oh yeah. Okay, now I'm brain farting.
Okay.
That brings up my joke. What's the best thing about a brain fart, Pat? They don't smell.
They don't smell.
But anyway, that was USAID, wasn't it?
That was bad enough.
It was USAID.
Yeah,
USAID.
USAID. Where warehouses full of food or
that were destroyed.
Of grain was going to distribution is now destroyed because and actually you told me they burned it.
They burned it.
They burned it.
They torched it. They torched food that could have fed millions of kids.
And that was bad enough.
And that's a Marie Antoinette let them eat cake moment right there.
I put that out. Yeah, let them eat cake. Yeah.
So keep talking to your friends and neighbors and family. There's a lot of people who watched the last 40 days go by, and they've softened up when it comes to understanding what's really going on. Yeah. There's lots of people that I've been talking to that tend to lean pretty hard right, and they're just going, this is not right. Between what's happening with farmers, what's happening with the Americans' health care, and with SNAP benefits, and all of those things being held hostage to this administration and the right-wing Republican way. And we cannot give up the fight. So as we wrap up here, keep that in mind. Keep the faith. Keep listening to trusted news sources, which are not major news sources. They are the best podcasts out there.
I've got one last one. Actually, it's what Gregg said earlier. We need in politics, in leadership, we need a younger group. And so if you know people, please get people to, at any level. It doesn't matter whether it's a school board or a town running or a state, okay? Get people, join in. And if you can get them as young as possible, within reason, those are the ones we need to get there to really understand the needs of people. I think some of the older generation gets locked up into their old world and the way they were. I feel good about myself that I don't think that way. But anyway, wrap it up.
We need younger people running for office.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yep.
All right, let's leave on that note. So let's keep the faith encourage people in your lives to be active and informed. And, we got elections, local elections are always happening. So that's where it all starts.
Yep.
So
stay with it.
All right. Till further notice.
Have a good week.
All right. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Keep your neighbors and your family close.